Chapter 2 Lost Spring Question Answers from Class 12 Subject English Book Flamingo. First, notice these expressions in the text. Infer their meaning from the context. First, looking for answer. In the chapter, this phrase refers to the act of scavenging or searching through garbage in hopes of finding something valuable like coins or useful items. For children like Sahib, this is not just about material gain but a symbol of hope and survival. B. Perpetual state of poverty. This means a continuous and never ending cycle of poverty. The people described in the text, such as rag pickers and bangle makers, live in conditions that have remained unchanged for generations, trapping them in poverty without any means of escape. C. Slog their daylight hours. This implies working tirelessly and exhaustingly from morning until night. The children and families in the Bengal industry are forced to work long hours under poor conditions to earn a living. D. Dark hutments refers to the small, poorly lit, and uncomfortable huts where these families live. These symbolize their deprived lives, lacking even basic human comforts. E. Roof over his head. This idiom means having shelter or a place to stay. Despite their poverty, some families take pride in at least having a place to live, however basic it may be. F. Imposed the baggage on the child. This refers to the burden of poverty, tradition, and responsibility placed on children by society and circumstances. These children are forced to give up their dreams and childhood in order to survive. Page 16. Think as you read. Question 1. What is Sahib looking for in the garbage dumps? Where is he and where has he come from? Answer. Sahib is looking for anything that could be of value in the garbage dumps, such as coins, pieces of metal, or useful objects. This act of scavenging is how he contributes to his family's survival. He lives in Simapuri, a slum on the outskirts of Delhi. Sahib's family migrated from Dhaka, Bangladesh, due to the destruction of their homes and livelihood by natural disasters. They came to Delhi in search of a better life but ended up in extreme poverty. Question 2. What explanations does the author offer for the children not wearing footwear? Answer. The author observes that many children are barefoot and various reasons are given. Some children say they don't have shoes, while others claim that going barefoot is a tradition. However, the author reflects that these reasons might just be a way to rationalize their poverty. The deeper truth is that they are too poor to afford footwear. Question 3. Is Sahib happy working at the tea stall? Explain. Answer. Although Sahib earns rupees 800 a month and receives meals at the tea stall, he is not truly happy. Earlier, as a rag picker, he had freedom. Even though his work was difficult, now with a regular job, he has lost that sense of independence. He is bound by rules and responsibilities. The steel canister he now carries symbolizes this new burden, contrasting with the light plastic bag he once owned. Page 19. Think as you read. Question 1. What makes the city of Firozabad famous? Answer. Firozabad is renowned for its glass blowing industry. The city is particularly famous for producing colorful glass bangles that are worn by women across India. Almost every family in Firozabad is involved in some aspect of this industry. Question 2. Mention the hazards of working in the glass bangles industry. Answer. Working in the glass bangle industry is extreme hazardous, especially for children. They are exposed to high temperatures in glass furnaces, work in dark and cramped spaces with poor ventilation, and often suffer from eye damage due to constant exposure to intense light and glass particles. The conditions are unhygienic and unhealthy, leading to long-term health issues. Question 3. How is Mukesh's attitude to his situation different from that of his family? Answer. Mukesh stands out from his family because he dares to dream of a different future, while his family, bound by generations of tradition and poverty, has accepted bangle making as their destiny. Mukesh wants to break free. He dreams of becoming a motor mechanic and is determined to learn how to repair cars even if the garage is far from home. Next, understanding the text. Question 1. What could be some of the reasons for the migration of people from villages to cities? Answer. People often migrate from villages to cities due to a lack of basic resources such as food, employment, education, and medical facilities. Natural disasters, landlessness, and poverty also push them to cities in search of a better life. However, they often end up living in slums and working in low paying informal sectors. Question 2. Would you agree that promises made to poor children are rarely kept? Why do you think this happens in the incidents narrated in the text? Answer. Yes, promises made to poor children are often not fulfilled. In the story, the narrator jokingly promises to open a school for Sahib. When Sahib takes the promise seriously, it highlights how even casual words can build false hope in the lives of underprivileged children. This happens because society often fails to take responsibility for these children and underestimates the impact of their own words. Question 3. What forces conspire to keep the workers in the Bengal industry of Firozabad in poverty? Answer. Several interconnected factors trap the workers in poverty: caste based traditions, lack of education, absence of awareness about rights, exploitation by middlemen, fear of the law, and the acceptance of fate by the people themselves. These forces create a cycle from which escape seems nearly impossible. Next, talking about the text, question 1. How, in your opinion, can Mukesh realize his dream? Answer. Mukesh can realize his dream of becoming a motor mechanic through determination, patience, and hard work. He may need to find a local garage that allows him to learn on the job or seek the help of NGOs that support underprivileged children. He must stay focused and resist the pressures of tradition and poverty. Second, mention the hazards of working in the glass bangles industry. Answer. The industry poses several health hazards: exposure to extreme heat, toxic fumes, eye strain from poor lighting, injuries from handling glass, and general physical and mental fatigue. These dangers are particularly severe for children, affecting their growth and future. Question 3. Why should child labor be eliminated and how? Answer. Child labor robs children of their childhood, education, and health. It keeps them trapped in a cycle of poverty. To eliminate it, we must enforce strict laws, create awareness, offer free quality education, support families financially, and involve NGOs and community leaders in rehabilitation efforts. So friends, that's why you should subscribe this channel for free quality education. Next, thinking about language. Although this text speaks of factual events and situations of misery, it transforms these situations with an almost poetical prose into a literary experience. How does it do so? Here are some literary devices. Hyperbole is a way of speaking or writing that makes something sound better or more exciting than it really is. For example, garbage to them is gold. A metaphor, as you may know, compares two things or ideas that are not very similar. A metaphor describes a thing in terms of a single quality or feature of some other thing. We can say that a metaphor transfers a quality of one thing to another. For example, the road was a ribbon of light. Simile is a word or phrase that compares one thing with another using the words like or as, for example, as white as snow. Carefully read the following phrases and sentences taken from the text. Can you identify the literary device in each example? First, Sahib-e-Alam, which means the Lord of the Universe, is directly in contrast to what Sahib is in reality. Answer. Irony, his name means Lord of the Universe, but he is a rag picker. Next, drowned in an air of desolation, metaphor, describes a gloomy, hopeless environment. Third, Simapuri, a place on the periphery of Delhi yet miles away from it, metaphorically. Metaphor highlights the socio-economic distance from Delhi. Fourth, for the children it is wrapped in wonder. For the elders, it is a means of survival. Contrast metaphor shows different meanings of garbage for children and adults. Fifth, as her hands move mechanically like the tongs of a machine, I wonder if she knows the sanctity of the bangles she helps make. Simile compares her robotic work movements to machine tongs. Sixth, she still has bangles on her wrist but not light in her eyes. Irony metaphor symbolizes the loss of joy and health. Seventh, few airplanes fly over Firozabad. Symbolism reflects lack of ambition or exposure to possibilities. Eighth, web of poverty metaphor traps people like an actual web. Ninth, scrounging for gold, hyperbole, exaggeration to highlight their hope in garbage. Tenth, and survival in Simapuri means rag picking. Through the years, it has acquired the proportions of a fine art. Rag picking as fine art, hyperbole, emphasizes how it has become a skilled way of survival. 11th, the steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly over his shoulders. Steel canister versus plastic bag symbolism contrast symbolizes lost freedom and growing burdens. Next, things to do. The beauty of the glass bangles of Firozabad contrasts with the misery of people who produce them. This paradox is also found in some other situations, for example, those who work in gold and diamond mines or carpet weaving factories and the products of their labor, the lives of construction workers, and the buildings they build. Look around and find examples of such paradoxes. Write a paragraph of about 200 to 250 words on any one of them. You can start by making notes. Answer: the builders who sleep on the pavement. Every day, tall and luxurious buildings rise in cities, reflecting modern development. But behind this shiny progress lies the silent labor of thousands of construction workers. These laborers work tirelessly under the scorching sun, lifting bricks, mixing cement, and climbing dangerous scaffolding. Yet, at night, they sleep under plastic sheets or on roadside pavements. They build homes that they can never afford to live in. Their own families, often including young children, live in temporary shelters without basic sanitation or electricity. This painful contrast is a social paradox. The hands that create comfort and beauty for others are denied the same for themselves. Their contribution remains invisible, even though the city skyline is shaped by their sweat. This situation highlights the cruel irony of development without inclusion and reminds us of the inequality still rooted deep in our society. So friends, we have completed all these question answers from chapter 2, Lost Spring. We have already studied summary, message and important word meanings from this chapter. You can find the link in the description and on the screen. If you like the video, kindly like it and share it with your friends. Also subscribe to my channel. You can switch the language to Hindi for better understanding. We will meet in the next video. Thank you for watching.